Are the Houston Rockets trying to sign and trade for one Jimmy Butler? What is going on, y'all? 5 Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NBA. And here to talk some NBA rumors, if you will, as free agency again just a few days away. And if you're new to the channel, you're going to want to subscribe because the latest and greatest and the best and the brightest free agency updates and upgrades, and I can't even speak right now because I'm so excited, but the best free agent videos are going to be on this channel because I'm going to bring you guys my analysis as I do so with every video. So go ahead and subscribe by clicking the button down below and turning on my post notification by hitting the bell icon, and also follow me on my social media, links down below and on the screen for my Twitter and my Instagram. So with that being said, I'm here to discuss not just free agent transactions that are going to happen, but also rumors out there, okay? And one rumor that's popped up today that, Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN basically, tweeted out was that the Houston Rockets are going to pursue Jimmy Butler in a sign and trade once NBA free agency opens up, okay? And my first thought when I read that was, what the hell are the Rockets thinking? Jimmy Butler, really? So you go from Chris Paul and James Harden butting heads and not getting along, and to fix that, the Rockets front office really puts their head and thinks, okay, we should add Jimmy Butler to this. Like, did they hear themselves? I don't know. To me, again, sometimes, man, these front offices are very perplexing, and to me, it's surprising coming from Houston because Daryl Morey, to me, is one of my favorite GMs in the entire NBA. He's forward-thinking. He's analytical approached, driven with analytics, and he usually does not make decisions based off emotion or anything like that. But this just seems like a recipe for disaster with the Houston Rockets because of the fact that Jimmy Butler, as much as he is a good NBA player, and boy, is he a good one as a two-way player for sure, he's kind of a locker room cancer and a diva, if you will, okay? We've saw what he did. I personally saw what he did with the Chicago Bulls, my Chicago Bulls. Well, I didn't see personally, but being close and following the team as closely as I do, Jimmy Butler, one of the reasons he was traded was also because of the fact that he rubbed his coach, Fred Hoiberg, the wrong way. And then you go to Minnesota, and he basically, chews out and yells at all the young guys like Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, alienates them. So Jimmy Butler now has been known to be sort of a locker room problem, if you will, and not everyone can handle his personality. Now in Philadelphia, it worked out because you had a team that was ready to win, and you had other veterans around Jimmy Butler that, he could basically say, okay, I trust these guys, and they gave him the ability to close out games. So Jimmy Butler was given everything he wanted in Philadelphia. That's why he succeeded. And I'm not saying you can't succeed with Jimmy Butler, but this situation with CP3 and James Harden, this does not look like it's going to go well. I mean, I haven't even gotten into the financial ramifications of how the hell this could work. I will get to that in a second. But just from a chemistry standpoint, you've got Chris Paul, who's a ball handler, James Harden, who's a ball handler, and then you've got Jimmy Butler, who, of course, can play off the ball, but he does like to close. And when the Sixers were not utilizing him, he called out Brett Brown and said, hey, listen, bruh, I'm standing in the corner. I want to do more than that. Give me the damn ball. And they let him close. So again, could this work? I mean, I never want to say never, but obviously I would have my reservations for the reasons that I listed out, okay? And unless there is a change in play style with the Houston Rockets where James Harden isn't isoing, every other possession and shooting the ball 20 to 30 times a game, I really don't see this changing. And I don't see that play style changing because Mike D'Antoni, as far as I know and as far as we've been told, is still going to be the head coach of the Houston Rockets next season. So to me, again, I would have my reservations about this. Jimmy Butler is an enigma in the locker room. It is very tough. Not everybody can handle Jimmy Butler. Now, let's talk about the financial side real quick because we're talking about a sign and trade here because the Rockets have zero flexibility in terms of the salary cap. And I shouldn't say zero. They get the mid-level exception that all the teams that are over the cap do. But essentially, they're over the cap, okay? So they can't afford Jimmy Butler, who's looking for a max contract. And so how would this work? Well, essentially a sign and trade is when the Sixers or whatever team has that free agent would sign that free agent to the max contract that they would offer the free agent. So in Jimmy Butler's case, it's a 5-year, $190 million deal. And then they would trade Jimmy Butler to whatever destination, in this case, the Houston Rockets, and the Rockets would have to send that salary back. So essentially it's a trade, a normal trade where you have to give and get back the same amount of salary, roughly around that much. But the only difference here is the team is signing you first because you want to get the full max. Because if Jimmy Butler signs with another team, I believe it's about like a 4-year, $150 million contract versus a 5-year, $190 million contract. So that would be advantage to Jimmy Butler, but also disadvantage to the Houston Rockets, who would have to give up assets. So not only do you have chemistry issues, just the max salaries at this point, you're going to have to send back some massive salary, because we're talking 5 for 190. That's a lot. That's like $38 to $40 million a year. And you take a look at the Rockets. If you're not trading Chris Paul, again, if you're trading Chris Paul and he's going to the Sixers and, the Rockets have Jimmy Butler and James Harden, that's a completely different story. I haven't even gotten into that. But I'm assuming they're not trading Chris Paul, because that whole saga came out and I even talked about it in a video. I'm assuming it's everyone besides James Harden and Chris Paul. And the highest salaries on the roster are essentially Clint Capella, Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker, and they're really the most valuable ones. So you're literally giving up your entire 3 of your 5 starting 5, trading Clint Capella, Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker, just a max salaries, not to mention probably maybe giving up picks as well. If you remember, Houston made an offer to Philly for James Harden. I believe they gave, or I think it was Minnesota, by asking for Jimmy Butler and giving up four first-round picks. So again, if you want to know what the offer kind of looks like, I mean, this is kind of what I'm thinking here, okay? The Rockets, they get Jimmy at that 5, 190, and they have to send back all of these players and potentially these picks. So how does that make you better? At that point, you're literally Jimmy Butler, James Harden, and Chris Paul, and nothing, because your whole other depth is compromised. So to me, not a fan of this at all. I think the Houston Rockets are making a mistake here by just kind of going for it with the Jimmy Butler. I think there are better options out there for them to explore and that I think would be better suited for their situation. So no, I'm not a big fan of this. I don't believe the Houston Rockets should look to sign and trade Jimmy Butler. I haven't even talked about the financial ramifications of having Jimmy Butler and signing him to this contract, but he's going to get a max. We know that. So let me know what you guys think. Would you do this if you were the Houston Rockets? I personally wouldn't. I try to fix things in a different way and go in a different direction. That's just me. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree. As always, thanks for watching.